Okay, so the animation that you just saw combines a bunch of different techniques, and I'm going to start out by talking about pre-comping. If you look at my project window, one composition is simply labeled J. Let's open that. And if you look at this, it's just a letter form J, and I have two keyframes for rotation. It starts out at 0, and then it goes 8 revolutions at the end over 10 seconds. I had to select the J and use my pan behind tool, which is right here, and moved the anchor point right to the very, very center so that it spins around itself like a wheel. I have another composition called N, and it does the exact same thing. I have another composition called O, which is just the letter O. It doesn't do anything. I have a K, rotated. Then I have this composition called Rasner, which is the text on a path effect that I showed you in the last video. So now I've created another composition called All. And in this composition, I brought all these elements together and positioned them likewise. I moved each individual thing in place. Now, the one thing that's good about this is if there's something that I don't like about it, let's say if the J and the N are spinning too fast or too slow, all I have to simply do is go into those individual compositions, and let's say we want it to spin faster. So instead of doing 8 revolutions, let's say we do 15. Okay? And here's a great thing. When we go back into this composition called All, that information gets updated. You can see the J spinning faster than the N. Let's say, for example, we wanted to add another jitter property, like kind of having them move around like that. We go back into this composition, the All composition, and it's updated. So now I've created a final composition called Animate Precomp. And what I've done now is I've taken the All composition and I included it here. And as you can see, I've animated its position property. So I have that whole thing consolidated down as one layer, moving across the screen from here to here. And you can see that I split the layer into 3 parts. So part 1, let's open up the position property here. And I have it animate on the screen. It does a pause from this keyframe to this keyframe. And then it does a little backward motion for anticipation before it moves forward. And as you can see over here, these 2 keyframes, instead of being diamonds, are arrows, which means that indeed I went into the speed graph. And if I zoom in over here, I made it accelerate. Starts out slow, faster, faster, and right at the end, boom, it accelerates. So let's see that motion from here to here. The reason why I split the layer is I also wanted to have an instance of this layer moving across the screen this way. And I also scaled it down. As you can see, I scaled it down to about 51% the size, so it moves across. Then I have another instance of it where it moves from here to here in a very short amount of time. So now I have the Krasner car, the Krasner mobile, coming in, pausing, back up, move forward, and out. You basically put a bunch of compositions together, each having their own animation for individual parts of a whole, bring them together into a final composition. This allows you to go back and control each one of the individual parts of the animation, making it faster, changing the speed, changing any properties about it that you want, and it becomes updated in the final composition. You can break the animation down into its components. It gives you a lot of control, and the timeline is not so cluttered up because you're consolidating layers together in individual compositions. So you don't have to do so much scrolling on the timeline.